Obviously, coming out of that session, what are the key challenges that you see for the use of alternative funding for infrastructure projects?
As we mentioned earlier in the session, I mean, some of the key challenges include really finding public sector capacity to really develop pipelines, because this is really the bottleneck, not the availability of fund, which is today quite abundant. There are other challenges that are really impairing this pipeline and the ability to deliver projects in an alternative way is the capacity also of the private industry in terms of understanding the intricacies and the expectations of institutional investors when coming into this asset class that infrastructure is now. And the third, I think, is really dealing from the general perspective on issues that are related to communities that tend to trigger what we call political risk, but is really making sure that infrastructure projects are actually inclusive in a way that communities but all stakeholders are involved.
Okay, and what do you consider, what are your suggestions for someone that's even contemplating what is an acceptable risk for, in particular, alternative funding?
A risk is nothing to be scared about, because I think one should always see risk and opportunity in the same basket rather than just risk. And my simple answer is somehow from my grandparents, don't take risks that you don't understand. As long as you understand them, you should be able to take them, price them, deal with them. And I think this industry, from the service to construction, has all the skills and the intelligence and the innovative skills to actually understand and manage pretty much all the risk involved in infrastructure.
Okay, and what do you view as key opportunities for the future? I know in there we were talking about emerging markets and whether or not development of greenfield and those type of things. So what do you view as the biggest opportunities or the next up big thing?
I think emerging markets are the biggest opportunity, because this is where the biggest leverage will be for investment. And when I see some of the IMF studies in terms of how much 1% of GDP into infrastructure can create in terms of further GDP in a single country, I think there is a real opportunity in these growing countries that actually need infrastructure. So we should invest more of those, and we should be fine.